Today, I bought the Logitech G Pro X Superlight 2 for 250 Canadian dollars, and it is the most criminally overlooked mouse for Minecraft. Many people overlook this mouse because they think it's bad, since they say it can't double click, but I'm gonna show you that this is easily one of the best mice for Minecraft out right now. I'll be unboxing the Superlight, breaking down its specs, talking about my experience with the mouse for both versions 1.8 and 1.20, and I'll also be letting you know if this fantastic mouse is right for you. We got a ton of cool stuff to go over, so stick around. First things first, with my reviews, I always start off with a breakdown of the tech specs because they are important. And the first specification I want to start off with is actually the price. I paid a whopping 250 Canadian dollars after tax for this mouse, which is equal to roughly 180 United States dollars. Now, I'll be the first to say it, that price is really high, especially considering that there are other mice from Minecraft that go for nearly half as much. The thing is, I wanted to address this early because yes, it's important to acknowledge that the price is really high, but I think that it's also important to understand that with this price tag comes extremely good quality. Oh, and just so we're 100% clear, I bought this mouse. It was not sent to me. I actually paid for it myself. Now, going from high to low, we have the weight of the Superlight coming in at 59.4 grams, which isn't the lowest on the market by any means, as a competitor that I'm sure many of you guys are familiar with, the Model 02 Pro, weighs slightly less at 57 grams, but it is definitely a comfortable lightweight. The Superlight is decently large, but is actually great for most hand sizes. I would say that it's probably a bit better for medium to large hands, but as long as you don't use a fingertip grip with very small hands, the size doesn't matter. That being said, something to keep in mind is that unlike the glorious lineup of mice, the Superlight 2 doesn't have a smaller option like how the Model O has the O-, for example. The Superlight is also an ambidextrous shape, which means that it's symmetrical when you cut it down the middle, but this doesn't mean that it's aimed towards left-handed users. This is because the side buttons are only found on the left side of the mouse. The shell of the Superlight 2 is a hard plastic material with a matte finish, which I really prefer to glossy finishes in general, and it comes in 3 colors: white, black, and magenta. Just a heads up, the box also comes with grip tape if you find that the coating on the mouse isn't for you or just isn't grippy enough, but I actually think that the stock coating is perfect and has done an amazing job at repelling oils. One of the biggest selling points of the Superlight series has always been the accuracy and the sensor, and the Superlight 2 continues to excel in this department like its predecessor. It comes with the Hero 2 sensor, which has a resolution of up to 32,000 dpi and has a variable polling rate of up to 4,000 kilohertz. For this price tag though, these specs are what's expected, so that's also important to be mindful of as we proceed through the review, as other mice at similar price ranges offer similar specifications. The switches used in this mouse are Light Force switches, which are an optical and mechanical hybrid switch, and this has been a huge point of issue for Minecraft players for a super long time, since people always say that the switches cancel double clicks, but I think that what I have to say and show you guys will surprise you as we go forward. The skates on the mouse are large PTFE skates, which glide very well, but also don't make the mouse too hard to aim with, and I'll expand upon this later as well when I speak about my experience when using the Superlight 2 in-game. The software for the mouse is really solid and feature-packed, but you drag clickers will be sad to hear that it does not feature an adjustable debounce time. I know, I was heartbroken at first too, but trust me, it's not how you think. As for the Superlight 2's battery life, it's rated for 95 hours of constant movement, which is great. However, you gotta keep in mind that this is for the 1000 kilohertz polling rate and not the 4000 or even 2000 kilohertz polling rate. So the higher you go with that, the more battery life it will consume. Both Windows and Mac are compatible with the Superlight, and sadly for my Bluetooth users out there, it does not have Bluetooth built in. Thankfully though, despite the lack of Bluetooth, we do have USB Type-C for the charging type, but I think that all my RGB soldiers are going to shed a tear with me when I break the news that it does not have RGB. I repeat, it does not have RGB, alright? I know, it makes me sad as well. The overall shape of the mouse is very inoffensive and is suited for several grip styles. The left and right mouse buttons are very wide and long, which is always fantastic for Minecraft and are super comfortable. Something that's also never talked about is a good scroll wheel, and I feel like this one is just really good and I'm definitely a big fan. The whole mouse feels very solid with no creaking, give, or wobble found on any of the mouse buttons or in the structure of the mouse. Now that we got the specs and sound test out of the way, I say it's time we get to the important stuff. What's the mouse like in game? Starting with my Superlight 2 experience in version 1.8, I gotta address the elephant in the room. Can this mouse double click? Well, the answer is kind of. So it definitely can double click for sure. The thing is that it doesn't do it as well, or truly it doesn't do it as consistently as some other mice that are popular for 1.8. This mouse can comfortably and reliably get about 15 to 18 CPS and can occasionally peak at 20 CPS, but that's really all you need. Now, I'm an experienced butterfly clicker, so you guys might not be able to get the same amount of CPS right out of the box, but it's definitely not hard to learn or practice getting higher CPS with the Superlight, and after about, I'd say an hour, you can probably figure out how to get consistent with it. Now we need to address the second elephant in the room. Can it drag click? Interestingly enough, it kind of can also drag click as well, which is crazy because it cancels out a ton of the clicks. So you aren't going to get high CPS at all drag clicking with this mouse, but I just want to put that out there that you can still moonwalk, god bridge, and even tele with this mouse. Just look at this. You see, if I could telebridge better, I'd actually have a shot with this mouse. And the best part about it is it's so good for drag clicking, you know? When it comes to the actual coding and the shape of the mouse buttons, it's just phenomenal for that. Like, if I could wake up tomorrow and change one thing about the world, it wouldn't be to end world hunger. No. Screw that. It would be to put an adjustable debounce time on this mouse. If it had that, I don't even know what to say. I think it would literally be beyond any other mouse out right now by a huge margin. As for 1.8 PvP, the Superlight is fantastic for tracking and both butterflying and jitter clicking. You guys know that I'm a CPS demon, so do I actually get the CPS that I usually do with this mouse? No, I don't. But does that matter? Honestly, not really. Blocking in, block clutching, maneuvering against my opponent, all of these things are effortless with this mouse, and if anything, I feel like from the first moment I played with it, I was able to play as well as I usually do, which is surprising given that when you get any new mouse, there's typically an adjustment period. Something I also really liked about this mouse is that if you're butterflying, you don't really need to slam the mouse like I usually do to get the CPS you need, as it registers the clicks best if you bounce the mouse a little slower so you bypass the debounce cooldown. As for jitter clicking, it's the undisputed GOAT. I'm by no means an avid jitter clicker, but everyone who is says this about the Superlight 2. The clicks are just perfect for jittering on, and I can get about 10 to 13 CPS on this mouse much easier than I can with other mice. The thing is, CPS isn't the most important thing about this mouse or even what sets it apart in my opinion. It is the insane glide and precision I get with it. This is something that I can only describe as unparalleled so far, and that's not an exaggeration. This mouse is so precise and the weight distribution is so amazingly centered that it's not like you're using a mouse to aim, but it's more like you're using an extension of your hand or something like that. Again, I'm not sponsored. I just had to put that out there to beat the glaze allegations, alright? I was honestly just blown away with this mouse when I started using it. Combining that with the weight, the shape, the coding, the mouse buttons, everything put together is just phenomenal. Even the skates make it amazing for aiming. Are these the most glidey skates I've ever used? No. I'd actually say that the O2 Pro has better skates in terms of overall smoothness. But since these skates on the Superlight 2 are so large, they actually create a bit of extra friction that allows you to aim a lot better in my opinion. When everything with the Superlight comes together, you get an experience that genuinely makes it easier and more satisfying to play, and it has been phenomenal for Minecraft version 1.8. Now, on to 1.20. Of course, everything that I just said previously still stands, but what I really think is important here is how solid this mouse is for tracking and stopping double clicking that you don't want. One of the most common issues I run into when playing 1.20 with other mice is accidentally double clicking and not being able to get a properly charged hit because of the cooldown that is required between hits in versions past 1.9. With this mouse, that happens significantly less, and it's extremely apparent. In a sword or axe battle, that could literally be the difference between a win or a loss, so it makes a huge difference and has actually led to me playing a lot better. Playing with this mouse in 1.20 has basically been one of the best experiences I have had with a mouse, period. Even the weight of the clicks are so perfect for sword and axe combat. Combining this with the aiming capabilities of the mouse, and it's just so clear that it's a fantastic option for 1.20 1.20 and newer PvP versions that I could recommend confidently to anyone. The responsiveness of the sensor just makes it superb for snapping, and oftentimes modern combat will be decided by losing your aim. It's extremely common to need to 360 to get back into your opponent's hitbox in 1.20, and for this, nothing beats the Superlight 2. Finally, we've come to the most important part. Given my experience, should you buy the Superlight 2? To figure this out for you, we first need to talk about some other great and similar Logitech mice, then make a comparison to other popular mice from Minecraft. Firstly, I'm gonna say this straight up. My honest opinion is that if you're gonna buy the Superlight, you can save yourself some money by buying the Superlight 1 over a Superlight 2. Essentially, everything I said already stands for the Superlight 1, and it's just 2 grams heavier, uses a slightly older sensor which still performs basically at the exact same level, and clicks the exact same. Sure, there might be some small differences in battery life, and also the polling rate isn't up to 4K kilohertz, but you're probably not watching this if you're a professional gamer, and to be honest, Minecraft players just don't need the 4K polling rate anyways. If I was you and I wanted a Superlight, I'd just go ahead and get a regular Superlight 1 over Superlight 2 and save some money. But if you want the latest and greatest, then get the Superlight 2. Nothing is stopping you. It's just the dollars to grams here, and your best value is the Superlight 1 between the two, in my opinion. Another possible choice if you wanted a mouse of similar quality is also the G Pro Wireless, which is basically a lot like the Superlight 1 and 2, but weighs a bit more at 80 grams, uses a different but also really good sensor, and also has some RGB in the Logitech symbol, which is always a welcome bonus if you ask me. I've actually used this mouse and it's fantastic also and can be a lot cheaper. I was able to buy one for 100 Canadian dollars for my friend, and that's actually not a bad price for a mouse of such great quality. Realistically, there's absolutely nothing that stops anyone watching from choosing either the G Pro or the Superlight 1 over the Superlight 2. So in sum, if you want the latest and greatest from Logitech, go with the Superlight 2. But if you don't care about having the latest mouse and instead want a mouse of extremely comparable quality, go ahead and check out the Superlight 1 and the G Pro Wireless. They are extremely safe buys for sure. Now, is the mouse worth choosing over other mice from Minecraft? Well, I'd say it comes down to what you want to do with it. If you gotta be that CPS demon who drags insanely high CPS and butterfly clicks 30, then this is definitely not the mouse for you. And I'd probably opt for a Glorious mouse, a Bloody mouse, or a Rocat / Turtle Beach mouse. However, if you are willing to overlook the lack of super high CPS and want a mouse that is not only extremely well rounded for all versions, but is also good for games other than Minecraft 2, well, then I'd say that this is a fantastic pickup, and I can't really say anything other than I'd recommend it. I do encourage you to check out its cheaper alternatives though. I hope that this has helped you and also cleared up the Superlight 2's name a little bit as a worthy mouse from Minecraft. If you enjoyed, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace!